Okay, so it's time to talk about modulation, but in a more advanced way that I did in the previous tutorial, where we saw the basics of it. We looked into what is an envelope and what is an LFO. Now we understand movement in terms of oscillators using other parameters and making them move, which makes the sound evolve at different speed. So you can basically take a little bit of audio like this, and then you can shape it into something that is a bit more exciting by either playing with the volume or playing with the panning or changing the frequency. And that you can do with any of the tools that you have here in Ableton. Well, not any of them, but like pretty much all of them can do that for you. For instance, the utility, you can change the gain, you can change the panning with this. So this is one thing. The other thing that we can also use is a frequency shifter, which is about changing the pitch. And then after that, we can use a filter. So the auto filter will be filtering frequencies off depending where we go. So if you just do one thing on, let's say, this sound. So if I just do this, okay, something's happening, but it's a bit, well, of course it's static. So because it's static, it also means that it's going to be the same thing from beginning to end. So how about we make this, but move? So I have here the shaper box by the Curve guys. It's a modular environment for creating all the movements that you want. So we can change, for instance, the pitch, which I'm going to turn off for now. And we were talking about the filtering. So this is a filter, and then we can automate it. So for instance, if I do this, we see here the original block of audio was like that, so it was raw material, and now we're shaping it into something that looks a little bit like a teardrop with the filtering. So I could put a little bit of the original signal plus the filter, and now we see the combination of both. Less and more, of course. So now if we want to get funky, where it can be pretty fun is when we play with the tone of this. So with this I can do it. So our block is now like automated in terms of the pitch going up, so it goes like whoop. And this will allow me to give some musicality to the tone just with this thing. And it's important to say that it's also multi-band, and I was automating the low end, and then now I'm automating the mids. So they're going to be doing a pitch change, but not at the same time and not in the same way. So this can add like a lot of richness. So this is a way of creating like a synth out just of the tone, and now it's taking shape into something that could be melodious. Where it gets really fun is that I could turn this into something more quirky and playful, and then we could be having some more science fiction kind of sound. So let's give it a try. I'm going to randomize the points. So now we can play with the filter. And as you see, I shape before starting to play with all the sound design of the sound itself. I kind of want beforehand to know what kind of shape I want this sound to be like. And this I can do it with the cutoff. So I wanted a sound that started about here, went up, and then would go down. And this like allows to have high precision on the kind of sound that I want. So I can also shape it a bit more like this. It's completely wet. It lost a little bit of its initial power because a lot of things is shaping the volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring a utility and give it a little boost. I can randomize this here as well. So these are all the things that I can do. I can flip horizontal, vertical. So for instance, if we do this, and then it horizontal, or randomize. Where it gets fun is when you edit the resonance of this thing. Now it gets pretty nasty. So after that, I can put the volume again. This time I want something very, very trimmed. So I'm going to go with the basic and just a square. So now it's completely changed just because the volume was automated. The second part of the sound is completely off now. So I want a little bit of movement up there. Oops, shouldn't close it. I'm going to add some panning. And basically what I want in my panning is the upper part I want it to move. But the middle part, I don't want it to move so much. So this one here, 1 bar is good. And it's going to be, I'm going to start with something like that to start with. And this one, it's going to be the opposite, but I'm just going to do it about halfway. Now it's moving. I like to have randomized. Where I really like things to go a little bit experimental is you get out of the beat sequence and you go in hertz instead. So you just shift it a tiny bit so it's a little bit off. And it gets like really trippy. And this one you 1.5 just to make sure that it shuffles. So as we see, the raw material that we had at the beginning is completely changed, and this is the kind of snapshot. So you see this is the sound unaffected without filter shaper. And then if you come here, you see that the same matter that was here is now into something that's going to be modulated. As you see, the modulation are very, very obvious here. You see that the sound is now a little thin line, and it makes spaghettis. So this is from a previous session, so I'm going to do it again just to show you. So I'm going to remove the filter box, I'm going to play this, and this is going to be resampling. And then the shaper box. And I can also, just for fun, mute. Let's just check how it looks like. So we went, I'm just gonna make it more obvious. So we went from this to that to this little guy, something small, and then it became this. I mean, my son would say it looks like a spaceship, so that's pretty much, or a turtle. That's even interesting. And again, the big thing, and you see that the modulation of the stereo is also inverted here. So and then it came back to normal, and then this little thing happened, which I don't know what it is, and after that it got modulated again, and at the very end you can see that it's like a spaceship again, but with a bit more like rounded edges. So that's what happens when you use LFOs, you know, that are sine. It also kind of just modulate really roundly, should I say. So that's super interesting, but how does it sound like if we take the shaper box and put it over claps, for instance, just for fun? We're going to give it a shot here. I'm going to randomize this just to get a bit more action. So this is pretty nice, and one effect that I like that is also a really good thing for modulate is the movement by the guys at Output. So Output is, without any doubt, quality developers. They do amazing sounding plugins, and this one is really nice because it's like super complementary of Shaperbox. Shaperbox does a bunch of things, but one thing it doesn't do is reverb, filter, delays, distortion, and all that. So basically, same concept. You have LFOs here, and then you assign them to something. So I'm just gonna remove just to show you how it works, because it's super nice to see. So again, this is my LFO here playing, and what I want is I want it to be modulating the wet dry of this. So the I put it on the second, so I have to remove it very quickly, and I want it on the wet dry. So now you're going to see that 2 is appearing here because of the LFO2, and plus the movement of that outer line here is the LFO going from here to there. So that's why it was like this. And if you want it to be a bit more random, then you can just add chaos to that so that the perfect line gets a bit jittery and all over the place. So that way you get something maybe a bit more analog feeling. So that's for the reverb. Let's see how it sounds with the claps. So this one here will be on pre-delay and on the HP, and this one on the LP. As you see, it's moving fully. You're gonna do the same thing with the filter. Now you're gonna recognize the same thing as the other one. So the filter, the filter is cutoff, resonance, wet, dry, and it's assigned to various LFOs. So it's making the noises that we hear right now. And this one is going up and down because it's a square and it's not modulated like this, so it's binary more or less. So you see that's why it's just shift from one to the other without nothing in the middle. So the rhythm one, we're gonna add a bit of chaos to that, just for fun. Now the delay. So we see that things are moving again just with the two LFOs, and there's the distortion. Whenever I want to look for something that is going to be modulated, the first thing you want to do is just play with it to see how it sounds if you do this, for instance. Kind of like that. That's really crazy. So I'm gonna reduce it and not put it wet completely. So it's good to start with something very intense and then you roll it down. Pretty fun. Cool, so that's it for today. I hope I just hope you learned a thing or two. So stay tuned, I'm going to make a third video with this.